Good morning.
Morning.
Abby said she needed a Navy SEAL here, and I didn't know this was the reason. I thought I was supposed to do something else, not talk to everybody. Hey, I'm Steve Rutherford. I'm a retired Navy commander. Served 22 years in the military from 1990 until 2000, over 2012. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. I have, during that time, I got exposed to solar. In fact, we took, when my later years, when my operator days were over, I ended up taking solar into Afghanistan. Why? Because solar was there to save lives. I took a solar system into a forward operating base north of Kandahar in Afghanistan, and we put that system up in order to save fuel runs, transportation. If you guys remember all the IED attacks that were happening in Afghanistan, solar was meant to save lives. So when I got out of the military, it was an easy transition. I started my company, now Tampa-based Solar, and been doing this for 13 years. And I'm proud to say that 30% of my workforce are veterans. 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 And I found out lately that I'm not the only one. A couple of businesses out here, anybody have a veteran working for them? Look at his hands.
We know.
Beautiful. So being from the great state of Florida, we have over 40,000. Yeah, Florida. Florida's in the house. Yes, yes. And I'm glad to be able to represent that, our great members of Florida here to talk about the importance of saving this tax credit and the importance of getting rid of all the negative benefits that the folks currently have exposed us to from the House. So I want to talk about 25D. Folks have called it a tax credit. I call it actually an investment. 25D has created over 40,000 jobs in the state of Florida. I'm excited about that because when I got into solar just in 2012, 1% of the energy came from solar. And I can tell you there were a lot fewer than 40,000 jobs that were created back then. But over that time period, since we've had the tax credit, customers have been able to take the tax dollars that would have come to Washington, they've kept it in their own pocket, and they've been able to reinvest it back into their communities. That reinvestment, thank you. That reinvestment has created community jobs. It's been donated to charities. It's been reinvested for childhood college funds. It's been put into creating energy independence. And those of you who are doing battery backup systems are starting to realize that that is something that is going to swarm this nation. As you combine solar with battery backup and storage, folks are going to find greater and greater energy independence, but that's currently a threat. Because if this bill passes in its current form, that's going to slow it down. I just came back from a trip in South Africa. I was able to go on a safari for the first time in my life and without a weapon in Africa, because in Somalia I had a different experience. But in South Africa, I was able to go to a resort out in the middle of the forest, and they had all the luxuries, modern luxuries that all of us would expect in a hotel. Why? Because they had a huge solar field there. They had battery backup. They had a well for water. You know, that is where the world is going. That is where we need to take back our leadership. Here in the United States, start combining solar with storage, and folks start realizing you don't need to be paying high electric bills. You can be your own energy company. And that's what's so great about solar right now. In the great state of Florida, we now have almost 5% of the homes that cover the state covered with solar. When I got in, again, there was less than 1% that was doing solar. They've invested $18 billion, 18 B with a big B. And some of you guys have seen the rice things of what a bee compared to a million looks like. You know, you can see there's a lot of rice there that has been invested in Florida. 40,000 jobs. 4,000 of them, by some counts, are veterans. And if this bill passes, those veterans will not have employment. I've been warning folks ahead of time. You've been warning folks, and we need to continue to warn folks. You are going to affect a lot of lives. And it's not something you want to do. Not in the state of Florida, not in any state. There's a lot of lives and careers at stake. Florida ranks number 3 in the country now for solar. And it's a red state. We've got more manufacturing facilities that make solar now in Florida than almost every other state out there. We've got 400 companies involved in the solar business in the state of Florida that will be impacted by this bill. So, our own company, Tampa-based Solar, recently took on a 2-megawatt project for a school called Manatee School of the Arts. It's actually a charter school, which is where most of the folks in that building have been trying to get the public to go to. And what they've done with their investment in their company, they've invested in solar. Why? Because they would rather not spend money every month on an electric bill. They would rather reinvest that money into the teachers that work for that school. They would rather build and improve property. So I'm so proud of that school. It is the largest, by the way, the largest qualifying domestic content project so far in this country. That's material made here in our country. All right, these are jobs that have been created over the last several years and jobs that will be lost if this bill is passed. So, finally, you all know, and some of you who have just started in this industry will realize, the biggest loser if this bill is passed is the customer. So any of you who've installed solar, I've been installing solar since 2012. And I will tell you, 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, I still, with over 3,000 customers now, I still see those customers at the grocery store, and I get a hug. And how many people can say they're in a business that they sell something to somebody and they can get a hug from a customer after the fact, even 10 years later? This is such a great product. We're so excited you guys are here. We're motivated. We're going to do what we need to do to keep solar alive in the country, in our great state of Florida. Thank you all for coming in out. Let's do what we got to do. Thank you. Here's Abby.